Good morning, crew. Gonna be going over the CVS haul for the welding rig this morning. Let's get to it. So I did stop by at CVS. For some of y'all, some CVS's are closed part of the day, but some are open 24/7, which is great. There's two things that I bought. First, foremost, is a family bundle gauze kit and wound care. So for large 3 to 6 inch wound sizes, 7 to 10 complete dressing changes, all in one value pack. This thing has changed over the years. I've bought similar packs before, gauze packs, dressing packs, all kinds of stuff. They do come in very handy. And again, I do want to go over that this is for the IFAKs on the truck, or if you want to call it first aid kits. They are going to be OSHA approved, but I am having extra stuff in there as well. Reason being, things do happen on job sites. I know some of y'all may say, well, I haven't seen anything happen on a job site, or I've never had anything happen to me. Well, I've not only seen things happen on job sites, but I've had big incidents happen to myself on job sites, not to my own fault, but things have happened to me on job sites, and I'm not going to go into details of that, but it does come in very handy of having this on hand. I've even used duct tape to put part of the leg back together, so it does come in handy. It preferably have something better than duct tape, but duct tape does in fact do the job. Super glue it later and it'll be fine. At least that's what I did, but again, go to a medical professional, go to emergency room, what have you. So I'm just going to break down what's in here. First and foremost, this bundle. Sterile surgical pads for extra absorption and cushioning. For providing extra absorption and cushioning on wound dressings for moderately to heavily draining wounds. So, y'all can see what those look like, and pulled out 5 of those. Let's go to the next part. Transparent dressings, wound cover, protection for cuts, scrapes, surgical incisions, and minor burns. Y'all can see what the front looks like there. Y'all can all see what the back looks like. And there are 4 of those. Okay, as per OSHA regulations, standards, roll gauze is necessary. And this is bigger than what is required, as y'all saw in a prior vlog about first aid kit and IFAK filler stuff, whatever you want to call it. And so it stretches and conforms, fully flexible. Provides wound protection and decreased leakage. So if y'all are looking for this stuff and looking for a specific type, that's kind of what it is. One roll, 6 inches by 2 yards. Y'all can see that. All right, and there are 3 of those. And I'm going to reach to the bottom because this is also another requirement. So I'm going to have 2 of these in each IFAK because it is required by OSHA is to have medical tape, 2 rolls of medical tape per IFAK or per first aid kit. They do have these in here, so it gives you step-by-step instructions, but in all honesty, you shouldn't need this when you're in the field because you should be up to date on how to use all this. You shouldn't be having to look through a little pamphlet or have a little manual out as to what to do. If you don't have first aid training, I highly recommend doing it. I've gone through Red Cross and other seminars for different organizations that do cover all Red Cross training requirements. And that way it's fine for OSHA, it's fine for other job sites and stuff. It's good for unions. I will throw that in there. And you shouldn't need a little pamphlet. My recommendation is go to a seminar or a class and learn CPR, first aid, and I don't mean first aid as in how to put a band-aid on someone. I mean burn dressings, gauze, stuffing wounds. What if someone's having a stroke on the job site? It does happen. What if someone's limb is hanging on by a thread and you got to put a tourniquet on? And you got to do all that stuff. EpiPens, guys have allergies on job sites, it happens. Just all kinds of stuff. I highly recommend that y'all do that, even if it's not required. So we have 4x4 sterile pads, 12 ply by 6 or 7. So 7 of these. I will show y'all what the front looks like. So that way, if y'all aren't sure what it is, you can pause it. You can look at it a little bit more in depth. And reaching down again. Sterile non-stick pads. 3" by 8". I still have to go get some 8" by 10" gauze. And not rolled, but 8" by 10" gauze. That is a requirement. That's something I do not have, but I will be getting online very soon. And so this is what this one looks like. And this has the count of 7 again. So there are a decent amount of things in this value pack. Is about $21, $22. Not bad for all the stuff that comes in it. If you're going for one OSHA approved med kit, IFAK, first aid kit, it will suffice on multiple levels of having rolled gauze, 2 rolls of medical tape, a lot of the sterile non-stick padding. I think that's in the OSHA thing. I will, once all of the stuff's getting into the IFAKs, I will put up the list of what OSHA has as the minimum requirements, which I highly recommend going above and beyond minimum requirements, because you don't want to be bleeding out and still bragging that you got the minimum requirements in your IFAK. That'd be no good. Now, the next thing that I bought that I do view as a necessity that is not listed in the requirements from OSHA is bleed stop. And so this stuff I view as just absolutely mandatory in my book. This is 4 packets of the powder to coagulate the blood. So if you got something really bad going on, you rip these open, you start pouring it on the wound for all minor cuts to severe bleeding wounds. Also works for people on blood thinners. Used by hospitals and first responders. Keep your children safe and family safe. A first aid necessity. Okay, so that's all great, fine and dandy. I will say I won't say skeptical of everything that says something similar to this, but just because it's a product says it's used by hospitals and first aid responders, there could be 2 first aid responders and 2 hospitals that use this, and then you have plurals of both. You have hospitals and first aid responders. So I do heavily recommend to do your research into what you're buying, and don't just buy from the cheapest company. Because again, when they say dentists recommend this, if you have 2 dentists recommending a toothpaste on the commercials, it's a plural. That means it could sound like thousands of dentists recommend it when it's only in reality 2, because they're being paid for it. So I do recommend that you do your research. This is from Bleed Stop. I've been buying from Bleed Stop for a long time, and I always have this on me on job sites, but I need more of this for the OSHA approved IFAKs. And again, it's not OSHA requirement, but I want these in there because I view it as a necessity. I don't want somewhere else and just a few of these. So there's going to be 2 in each. Figured that should suffice for now. Probably buy more in the future, but they only had 1 box at the CVS. So anything else on here that would, it says non-stinging, sterile, and hypoallergenic. So that's all good. And stops bleeding seconds. Instructions for best results: pack powder into the wound generously, apply pressure firmly, and hold until bleeding stops. And I will show you all the steps in case you may have something similar and it doesn't show you the steps, which they really should. But I just want to have this up here so you all do see the steps on how to use it. And this is from Bleed Stop. And it is made in good old USA. So I do really like that. And 15 grams, so I don't know. Some of them do have a lot more in it. Some of them have just a little bit. They have the little tubes. If you're going to be using this on a job site, you don't want the little tubes because that's just not enough. I've seen those before, and you just be opening little tube after tube. At least this has a good amount in here. I don't know if you can, it don't really shake much, but believe me, there is just a decent amount in here. It's got some thickness to it, at least on the bottom end. So again, I view this as a necessity because I've had certain things happen to me on job sites. Again, not my fault for any of them happening, but I have had some big things happen on job sites that have taken me out for the count for a while. And this stuff is necessary. I do highly recommend that you all go above and beyond the OSHA requirements. I view it as not near enough as to what should be necessary, but that's just my own personal opinion. And again, any of this stuff, I do also suggest that y'all have a class, seminar, training weekend, what have you, in how to use all this. You don't want to be going to a job site and have all this good stuff and then something happens and you have no clue how to use it. It does no good at that point. And you could be doing more harm, actually, if you don't know how to use it. You could be doing something very wrong. So I do highly recommend that you get trained in how to use all this. It is very beneficial. So that's today's update. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see y'all in the next vlog.